All right. Cool. All right, we are live on there. Um, but yeah, so I'll finish that story now that we're on camera and streaming, so everybody knows the little background here. But no, so my name's Paul Balog. I'm a developer advocate at Grafana Labs, more specifically on the K6 open source project. So thank you for the load testing and all that. And let me check. I think the audio level is good. Okay, and if anybody's out there and is watching the YouTube stream, hopefully we have audio okay there. Everything appears to be good. Because I tell you what, with this live stream thing and me being a kind of a one-man show, it's something always goes wrong. And it's like shit. The demo gods are against me sometimes. But yeah, so we'll go back into it then. So again, I'm on the K6 project, load testing. So the Grafana aspect of things, some of the other aspects of the whole LGTM stack, I'm not an expert in. I know of them. I know them a little bit, but I don't use them daily. So I'm not going to be your true expert that you would hope for at this. But we'll give it a shot. So yeah, so like I was saying, this is one of those things where it's like sometimes it's like watch out what you volunteer for, because so St. Louis here, I do the meetup organizing for the Kubernetes and Cloud Native group. So I am a actual CNCF ambassador, so I do that group. I also do the St. Louis Go meetup group for about 4 years now. We started up this Grafana and Friends group now. And then as of yesterday, look for it on Meetup, we created the Mo reliability. So this will be more geared toward testers and SREs and things like that. Just basically how to try to break your system and, or make sure that you don't break it, by accident. So that should be a fun one. But yeah, so anyway, when I volunteered to do this, I was hoping that I was just going to be the host. I'm the guy that's just, hey, how you doing? Here's the expert, go. But no, I am apparently the expert. So that's my caveat. I got to start with that because it's like I was sweating this presentation that I was handed 2 days ago. So, all right. But anyway, so we have these GrafanaCON locals going on in I want to say it's 42 cities. And I may be saying 42 because that's the magic number for everything, right? But at least 40 cities going around the world. And then this morning, I don't know if anybody was able to see it. We had the GrafanaCON keynote with Torkel out of Stockholm. So a lot of this stuff was come out there. And then the next couple of days, if any of this piques your interest, be sure you're signed up for the GrafanaCON. It's all free. And then you can actually view and actually later on even too, watch on demand the deep dives in each of these aspects. So this is just kind of the fun trailer. Get you all hopped up and excited and signed up, hopefully. All right, so now I'm going to, there we go. All right, so tonight we're just going to go over we had the Grafana Top 10. We're going to go over some of the new highlights in Grafana 10 that was just released today and announced and everything. Now, yeah, go over just briefly about AWS Marketplace. And the reason why is a lot of the cities, AWS is hosting. So we've included these in all the slides. So it's obviously we don't have an AWS office, otherwise here in St. Louis, otherwise we'd be presenting from there. And then, yeah, I think I just front loaded all the local announcements. So, all right. So we go into the fun stuff. And this is just top 10 features by Grafana engineers in their biased opinions. So Torkel, he's the man. He's the one who put those first commits on the Grafana application. So his favorite thing was the Grafana Live here. So yes, they did actually run Doom inside of a Grafana instance for fun. With Grafana, we have hackathon events. I want to say I don't know, it's a couple times a year at least, where teams get a full week. They don't have to do any of their other duties, and then they get to work on fun experimental things. And some of the things actually come around and become products down the line. So, but this one, somebody actually went and then used the push data service to be able to sit there, and then they were pushing metrics from running Doom inside of Grafana. So there are links to get to that, so you can actually play that. And then I remember playing Doom when that was the new game way back, and I remember that giving me like motion sickness because it was so jerky and just like bumping into walls everywhere. So yeah, so I did this for like about 2 seconds, and it's like, oh yeah, no, not for me. Yeah, so the second one from one of our engineers, Ivana Hakova, is the query builder. So this is just making it a little bit easier to create essentially your PromQL. So you don't have to know all those specific little functions and that. So that's definitely a nice add. And apparently that was just released with Grafana 9. So I don't know. Does this look familiar to anybody? The query builder? Okay, because I wasn't sure if it was protected by behind a feature flag in 9.0, and then now it's just on with 10. I wasn't completely sure how they were running these. Command palette, yeah, Command K will get you everywhere. Shortcuts. So that was from David Kaldschmidt, and a lot of these are they're actual engineers on the product. RBAC. So we get the role-based access control, and again they made sure to put it out there that this is only on the enterprise and cloud. So this is the pay-for version that you would get this aspect. Number 5, public dashboards. And again, this one shows that it was introduced in 9.1, so I wasn't sure if it was hidden behind a feature flag or just generally available by default. But with this one, again, you can actually create a dashboard and say like you have, I don't know, I keep wanting to say investor, but you have somebody, the interested party, let's just say that you want to share that data with. Well, you can create a URL that they can access, and that's all they can get to. And then it's even with email where it's strictly for them. So and then you can have it with a short duration as well. So that's one of the things. So this person was actually publishing his Destiny gaming stats. So, Josh. All right, and then now, yeah, Daniel Lee, no longer with Grafana, but he's they call the OG engineer. He was one of our early engineers. But yeah, so now with the visualization suggestion. So I don't know. I know for me, whenever I messed with Grafana in the past, it was so overwhelming. All the options. It's like, yeah, it's great. I'll use a dashboard that you create. I'll use that thing to death. But yeah, some of these to create them. So this is one of those items where by whatever metrics you're selecting, it can give suggestions and show actually examples of that data, how it's going to appear with the actual component. All right, 7 is the Explore to Dashboard from Thanos Karachelios. Yeah. And let's see, I don't even remember what exact. Oh, yes. So yeah, so if you're exploring your data in the Explore tab and just kind of getting the raw values, you can actually have a temporary panel come up with the visualization as it's kind of showing there in the animation. And then you can get it to however you like it, and then you can actually go and say, okay, now add it to a dashboard. So just convenience things. Yeah, this one I've never messed with at all too. So Mitch has the chain variables. So basically, you can continuously drill down on your variables so you can limit subsequent drop-down lists. Here it looks pretty obvious because that's the single letters there. Yeah, I'm not sure how what it's going to look like in reality. If you're doing, if your metrics are maybe like host name, subdomain, or that type of a thing, you can continue the limiting of that. But again, this is they've got Grafana XX, so I guess nobody knows when it was added. It just appeared. Maybe it's 10. I don't know. Like I said, they just handed me these slides. The Infinity panel from oh my, Suramarajiam. Wow, sorry. Sorry, Shri. I'm sure it's probably Shri is shorthand for him. But yeah, so again, connecting to your different data sources and then being able to just kind of go back through time and all that. And the last is from Alexa here, the plugin catalog. So again, Grafana, one of the tenets that we live by is really the big tent that, we work and play well with others. We're not going to lock you in. We want to make sure that we work with any of these other products, and with the plugin architecture, anybody can create and contribute. So, all right. So of course we have the links here, and I will be providing the slides. Tell you what, I will, to the Meetup event, actually, I will add a URL to a Git repository where I have all the other meetups too. I have all these kind of resources and that, so you'll be able to see the actual links. And I'll probably put these, I'm the only one that's doing a live stream, so I'll probably put these links in the description for the video as well. But again, these are just for the documentation on how to, there was the webinar and then the documentation and some other deep dives. So, but anyway, enough with that. So now here's where I have to be a cheater, and I'm apologizing because, yeah, this is where I'm gonna have to look at my speaker notes, and I promise I'm gonna try not to just sit here and read it to you, because that kind of blows. But I don't have this all this memorized. But now we're getting into the meat and potatoes. This is going to be the things for Grafana 10. So, and unfortunately, I'm going to try to change some of this, in dynamically and midstream, because some of it is a little bit too much sales speak. And as I said before the cam started, I am not a salesperson. I work strictly with the open source community. I do not push our pay products. And in fact, I always try to do my best to show you how to get and use them for free, even the cloud. Because Grafana does truly have a really nice free tier Grafana cloud that you can use. So if you have your home lab or something, you can utilize that, set up the free account. We don't bombard you with marketing. You can opt out from any calls or that type of a thing. But it is actually pretty good. You get to use a lot of products. I mean, I have a virtual private server that I have pushing logs up into the cloud here. And then I do things with like K6 using that. And then I use again, on that, when I'm doing that stuff, I use my personal account. So I don't even use the free stuff that I get from Grafana, where I can use all the whiz-bang stuff. But I try not to do that. So anyway, so Grafana 10, we're set to revolutionize the data visualization and monitoring experience. We focused on crafting a tool that not only meets needs, but anticipates them. So we've improved the workflow. So this has always been one of those things where it's like, creating your initial dashboards. If you crack open a fresh Grafana installation, and then to get started, just creating your first dashboard, this is something that they've been really focusing on, is because that's, it's not the highest learning curve, but I mean, it is enough of a, kind of a speed bump to get started. So they've really worked on that workflow for that, just for getting set up. One of the big things that we've pushed for this release was a lot of the data security. So you mentioned like a lot of your issues where you have to have on-prem. And I mean, a lot of folks are like that, where they, whether they're financial services or whatever, they can't share that data with the public cloud, or they can't take the the fear of exposing ports to make it available, all that. Again, we've embedded a culture of collaboration, and again, see, this is where some of this stuff is going to be really markety, and I'm going to try to avoid that as much as possible. But it's true. We value what you can derive from it. We just had we had the Golden Grot Awards, where we really encourage people to kind of play around with things and let us know, give us the feedback. So we had someone, we flew them out to Stockholm for this morning's GrafanaCON keynote, to give them the Golden Grot Award, and the grot being the fun little dinosaur thing. But yeah, and then and then again, like I mentioned before about the big tent, we want to make sure that you can analyze data from diverse sources. We don't want to lock you into anything. The big tent is truly what we strive for. We want to make sure that we work and play well with everyone. I mean, we even have things where we kind of, in a way, help some of our competitors. I mean, we have some folks that are using, like for K6 example, where they're using K6 in their product that is a load testing product that, could be kind of considered a competitor, but, we think in the long run that, Grafana will be the choice and the winner because the way that we are on that. So, it's like, yeah, you might be taking money from us right now, but in the long run, we're sure that, we'll be the chosen one. So, all right. So yeah, I guess there we go. That just collapses it all down into one extremely long sentence that I'm not just going to read. But yeah, so the insights into the monitoring. So here we go. We're going to go into some of the individual pieces. So one of the big things that we're doing is to uncover the data relationships. Let's see. We're providing a flexible and user-friendly interface to uncover correlations and root causes for your data. So all that to say is that we're doing some things where you can now link data from different data sources. Now, we had that in some of the product before, which we'll see in a subsequent slide, but now we're making that a lot easier with a lot more disparate sources. So you can do things like link, say like, say an Apache log, or well, an application log for some Spring Boot app or something that's doing database queries. Well, you could take that log line and actually link it in Grafana to the database query. And then you can actually run that query and see the results of that query side by side with the log entries right in Grafana. So it's kind of cool that way. Then you don't lose context by switching around different tabs, different apps, all that. We're trying to keep that all together under one application. Try to make it a bit easier to access. Again, here the network secure data. So we're making it. We're adding, excuse me, end-to-end encryption and ability to route multiple data sources through single encrypted SSH tunnels, secure approach to ensure private and reliable access to your data. So what we're doing is we're going to give the ability to have an agent that you have running on one of your private servers. So say like you have your database server, a MySQL database, and that you don't want accessible from outside world. Makes sense, right? But then say that you do have Grafana Cloud. So you have your metrics off in the cloud and under Grafana. So obviously you've got the internet in between. So with this agent that's running inside of your VPC or, wherever your network bounds are, it'll call into the Grafana cloud in exchange and then basically create a tunnel so that your machine can actually, the cloud-based Grafana can actually use your data source remotely. So it is cool. We'll see a little bit more there. They do have some more detailed slides on that. Yeah, so again, the shared dashboards of stakeholders, that's the word I was looking for, not investors. I just must have been that VC talk we had before. But but yeah, so, again, we want to make sure that, that data is accessible, is usable, and then you can share it with whomever you wish, even if it's outside of your networks. And this last piece here that we'll talk about tonight anyway is about creating and managing the dashboards. Now, this is where dashboard maintenance is kind of nasty. Right, and this is where one of my personal issues was. It's like this giant JSON file, and it's like, good Lord, it's all these different things to map your data sources, map it to a view, and then if you have any variables in there, all that good stuff. Well, that's one of the items that Grafana 10 is addressing with this release. Let me go with this. All right. Well, that's a nice one. There we go. so, yeah, unlock the data's potential from day one. So let's see. Let me read through here. I'm sorry. And this is probably stuff where I'm going to be like, I'll rewatch the live stream and I'm going to go through and I'm going to cut these out. So I can sit here and cuss and whatever, and then I'm gonna edit it out. So if you watch it then after it'll be all cleaned up. Yeah. Thank goodness for post-processing. And again, if y'all have any questions, as I'm going through this stuff, please do feel free to stop me. I don't mind whatsoever. I may have this microphone here to pick it up just for those following at home. So live mic, just in case. don't do a stream of obscenities, because then otherwise I got to trim out more of the video. But yeah, so all right, here we go. The video. Yeah. So all that to show that, yeah, we understand that, creating dashboards and that has not been the most pleasant experience in the past. And then, we have been listening and we have been focusing on trying to get that workflow going a bit better. So now we've got this. So, so now whenever you create, we've got the nice little create add information button there. We're trying to play around with the UI a little bit to just, again, make the flow a little bit better. Now, I don't actually have a demonstration for this of creating it. Yeah. But, again, they're talking about for rapid deployment. They want to get your team up and running quicker. Effort in the data discovery, they've really been working on that. Yeah, new upgraded data source picker. Let's see. Streamline workflows. Yeah. Let's see again. And I told you all I'm not the Grafana expert, right? I was expecting someone else to give the talk that knew what they were doing. Um, but yeah. So again, this is all the big thing is to make the data exploration and then for creating your initial panels and all that and your dashboards a lot quicker. So um, yeah, the usability of the dashboards. So we've got, let's see, I guess that's actually really just these. So yeah, so the starter dashboard was the one previously. Let's see, enhanced data source configuration, improve Prometheus. Yes, the Prometheus and Loki builders, which we kind of saw in the top 10. That's been expanded a little bit more. So obviously they all try to reuse somewhat the PromQL type style of syntax. And likewise with the builders, they're doing similar. Introduction to interactive canvas panel. Oh, yes, yes. So, and actually, yeah, because now I remember, because I was even going through this and I was like, why didn't they have examples of the canvas panel? Because the canvas panel is, and I guess actually that might be it here, where this diagram of a house is, because you can actually have like, almost like network topology diagrams and then have the boxes there and then link like the connections between them to a metric. So then that way, then you can have this diagram like that that's actually active and animated, and so just like the different services connected. So it's yeah, that was kind of cool. But unfortunately, they didn't put a video of that in there. Now, again, the deep dives with the real text on these will be tomorrow in the morning. Those start at like 9 a.m. our time. So something piques your interest on here, be sure to look for that on the GrafanaCON online, because that's where the real expert will be able to hook you up. But yeah, and then another one was the subfolders for better organization. And that's one, and I will show you one, I'll point it out anyway, on when I do show a demo. But where if you're in a shared environment, it can get ungodly, the number of, everybody wants their own dashboard. Everyone wants, 10 dashboards. And it can get a little bit crazy to try to locate things. Well, now with the subfolders, you can actually map them to teams for your org. And then that way, then you can have it a little bit more organized and easier to find things and all that. Okay, so here we go. This is going to be a little bit about, again, the JSON monolith. We're changing things around a bit because obviously it was complex and kind of undocumented, would change and possibly break between versions, major versions of Grafana, and then and therefore not very consistent. So anyway, we are trying to address that. So now we want to do is we want to solve the issue of the growing complexity without growing pain, dashboards to keep in sync with your applications, and then monitoring. Monitoring the code as part of your overall platform. Okay, here we go. So yeah, so hearing back the feedback from the community and everything, we recognize that everyone is kind of unique. There's no one size fits all solution or strategy, because again, everybody's distinct needs they vary. We started from real world use cases. We chose to kickstart the new journey from concrete use cases, using our users' wish to integrate into their workflows, and devised appropriate tools tailored to meet these specific needs. So yeah, so there was some retooling there, and this was actually quite major, and then based on a common foundation. So what we're going to do is we have kind of some standard schemas in that for the objects and resources that are going to be in these configurations. All right. So yeah, that way then you can have your dashboard as code essentially now. You know, have that stuff in Git and then build customized dashboards and be future proof in that, you know, we're not gonna, you're not gonna be fixing it every time you upgrade, you know, or have the fear of upgrading because great, now we got to recreate all these dashboards that we kind of rely on, or that's, you know, on the monitor that's right outside the CEO's office, you know, that he looks at constantly. So we're not going to break those for you. Yeah, there's the Grafana. We're, you know, keeping that going. So that's going to let you do the break apart the individual pieces of your, you know, the monolith. So then that way, then you can actually have shared set configurations between different dashboards. You know, so you can do something there to like pull them in with the JSON, pull them together. And there's a Terraform provider which will also help you to do that and then to push your new updated dashboards. So they have been working quite a bit on that. And here they included a couple things that are coming for future. They want to broaden Grafana's scope to other languages like Go and TypeScript. So you're not going to just have the JSON there. They want to create a new VS Code plugin that'll let you preview the live dashboard as you're sitting there working on it. And it's connected to data sources from your actual Grafana data or of your choice, your instance choice. But yeah, so that way then, yeah, you can become essentially developers of your own dashboards and then not have too much fear that we're going to break you going forward. Okay, so yeah, analyze all data from anywhere. So again, this is kind of leading into the security. I'm sorry, this is the correlation. So this is going to be the mapping, you know, a widget to another widget or something, anything like that. And this is one that I'll actually be able to show you. So, you know, again, so with the Big Ten approach, we have an ecosystem of over 150 different data sources that you can pull in and connect with, explore and visualize. You know, so it makes, you know, of course, Grafana the only tool on the planet that can give you a truly unified observability experience. Remember that. Oh, sorry, threw in that real marketing bit, right? But yeah, so then that way, then you can choose the right tool for the job that you need to do. So you can actually have CloudWatch metrics next to Splunk logs that are also connected to Tempo distributed traces, and you can link those all together so that basically you can drill down into each of those elements from one to the other. You know, and then again, that's been kind of our secret sauce, they say. Let's see. And then, yeah, so you can actually, you know, dig in and hopefully not lose context of where you're at by switching apps and things like that. Right now, Tempo has this functionality. So with Tempo, you can actually connect to sources in Loki, another Tempo instance, into Mimir, which, does everyone know what Mimir is? Let me make sure that everybody knows the LGTM stack. I mean, so we have Loki for logs. Okay, that's our enterprise logs. Tempo is our distributed tracing. So if you're, you know, that's the observability data. You can, you know, see the activity across different microservices typically. That's what you're going to use that for. Mimir is a distributed Prometheus. Again, also open source, very high volume. It's a good deal. And, you know, those other ones that are to the right, I don't think I'm supposed to mention them by name. So, But no, but yeah, so Tempo currently already had that ability to be able to connect to all these different things to basically link traces. So now here we're looking, this is a little bit of the editor for it. So you can specify again your source, like in this case, we're looking at a Loki database, and then we're gonna say it's gonna link to Prometheus, a target. And then it'll use the metrics browser. And then that way, then basically what's going on here? Does it have the, maybe it's on the next. Oh, oh. Where is it? I thought I saw it in here. Oh, okay. Actually, it's in this query here. So what's going to happen is, I guess, whenever you'll be in Loki. So you're looking at logs. You can imagine this. You can click on a button which will take this field in the log, okay, and then it's going to, from the log, okay, and then it's going to use application equals that field in the Prometheus query. So then that way, then you can, click the log and say, let me see the data for this, and then it'll do the actual query and the metrics. So that's with these correlations, you can now get to this. And again, it's with those unmentioned ones as well. And then I can, sorry. Oh, apparently I was supposed to start demo here. All right. Yeah. Okay, let me, now this is really weird too, because I can't mirror. Okay. So this is an actual dashboard with version 10. Is that the question mark? Yeah, there we go. So that's showing what? Yeah, 10.10, I guess. I don't know. It's version 10, major version 10 anyway. So this is one of our sales engineers. This is one of his dashboards. So we actually have it's just a bogus data generator, activity generator that they use. He's on the actual Tempo team. So this is something that he's created. So now if we look down here, so here we just have our P95s, okay? So these are all just requests coming into the system. And then obviously the line here is our P95, so the 95th percentile. And then you have, man, keep clicking all over the place. So then you have these other outlier points and some that are within the bounds. But these are our exemplars, okay? So that's where we actually have more data. So we can, rather than just seeing, what the P95 is at this point, we can actually go here and then get all this metadata on that particular request. So now because we have the correlations, we can click on this, and I'm going to open it up in another tab. But this will take this trace ID. So trace ID is for the distributed tracing. And what I did was I was able to now go into another tab, and this is the distributed trace for that exact request that we saw there. So now, we have all this. Here's the overall call was what I think it was 200 something, 64 milliseconds. And then if you'll notice here, we have this little link button, okay? Now this is one of those, this is a custom correlation that was just created. So what this does is that, and I'll show you the backing pieces on it, but this is going to give us a count of this health entries. Okay, so we pop into this, and this actually went and hit the Postgres database that is being called from this request, and then it gets us this this additional data here. So we can see that, what is that, 434 rows in that particular table. Okay, so that way then, again, you don't have to switch to another application. You don't have to go from your tracing view over to something like, say, Toad or whatever, to run a PL SQL query. You can, it's linked right there. And you didn't even have to type in the query because, the DBA or somebody has gone ahead and created that there. And then now if we look here, we'll see that we had another one that was created, okay? And again, and is everyone familiar with the tempo, this view at all? Okay. Well, yeah, so this is essentially like what something like Jaeger. So if you do come to the CNCF, the Kubernetes and Cloud Native, we'll probably talk about Jaeger sometime, but it's one of the open source backend engines for tracing data, just like what Tempo is. But yeah, so this is all this is your call stack, you know, between the services and database and all that. But we capture, there's attributes that get passed along with these. And in some systems, it's there's multiple protocols, but the BB3 or B3B, or it was like Big Brother Bird or something. It was Twitter actually created the initial protocol for these tracing things, but it was called baggage. So this is your baggage, is all this metadata, you know, associated with that particular request, and this will change based on, you know, where this span was captured and all that. So we look here though, that one didn't use it, but if we look in this one now, we have this, okay, and then it's going to do a query of, oh, I wonder if he changed it or something got changed because, oh, it's an insert. Let me, there was another one, there was a GET request, I thought. Scroll down. I tell you what, let me find a different exemplar. So again, any one of these data points out here, we can do the same thing. Okay, I'm gonna pop this open again and what? Because I was under the impression originally that this was supposed to like open up again like a side panel. Just right next to you, split the window, but it would take over the screen. So I just got in the habit of opening it up into a separate window there, or tab. Here we go. Yeah, so this one, this query was actually, there was a select query being performed against the database. So we go in here, we'll see that here's all the baggage for it, which actually even says this is the actual exact statement that was being executed against the Postgres database. You know, all this good information here to help your SREs really dig into what was going on. But now if I click on this little link there, that executes the correlation. So now this actually goes to that Postgres database source, executes the query that was in the baggage, and then here's the results. So, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, if it was a long query, maybe it's because it, you know, returned 500,000 rows or something like that. And that's why there was that delay or that long running query, that type of a thing. But anyway, all this to show that these correlations will let you do that between different data sources, which is actually pretty cool. Because then that way then, you know, you do have to configure them. And I will show you that where they're configured. So here, if we come down here and then under administration, so not everybody can create them, but here we have all these different correlations. So in this case, you recall from the name, the guy was heads, and then PostgreSQL. This is the one that actually ran the full query on the it's the one that pulled all the names out, I think it was. But if we pop into this, you'll see that this is how that's mapped. So the label is going to be dynamic. So that's where we saw, oh, let me try that again. Let's see, is this one I want to find, hopefully this is one doing the select again. Yeah, okay, here we go. So yeah, so when we looked at this, okay, yeah, so pulled all the names. All right. Sorry if I'm bouncing around quite a bit. But yeah, so the statement is going to be the dynamic label. So like when I hover over here, it's going to show this is the actual query. Okay. And then I come in here. This is kind of the weird part here. Is the next is way over there, kind of hidden. This is where I say, this is going to be my target. So I'm going to take that variable statement and I'm going to insert it. Notice that just adding the semicolon just to make it an executable statement for the database. And now, again.
Can you back or something similar so that the data isn't shown to SRE?
So if you don't want it to be shown, yeah. I mean, you can change it. So this right here was doing it that way. So you could make it a select count or something like that if you wanted to do it. And again, that's if you recall, this was under administration. So you can control it so that, not everybody can do that, and then figure out a way to, let me maybe do a, decipher, passwords or something. And
a lot of compliance.
exactly. Yeah. So that way, then it's a little bit more controlled that way. And then let's see. There we go. And then, so again, here, configuring the source. So it took me a while to figure this out, but it's like, what was placing it there, that little link icon? But this was saying on that, the particular field and tempo, I guess those are referred to as tags, each one of those lines. And that's where that would place the actual link itself. And then this is the actual ugly query. It's a regex, but it's going to map into the statement variable, and it actually parses out, that the key value. So if we come back here again to that, and then we take a look at the baggage. Whoops, the baggage, Paul. The span attributes. Here's the DB statement. So it's pulling out that query. So so it's it's pretty powerful. You can do a lot of stuff with that. But yeah, fun. All right. What was I going to show? There was something else that I mentioned that I could show. I think it was the dashboards. Yeah. So like here, again, everybody wanted a dashboard. This is one of those environments that we have for our sales engineers typically use this at different clients and things like that. So, of course, because it's one giant shared environment, they have tons of these things. So here I can just, go to that folder, and then that way then this could be a team or something like that. SREs would have one, anybody else, machine learning guys or something could have another set of dashboards that kind of keeps it a little bit organized and out of the way for everyone. But yeah, and I have found this is kind of weird because usually I use Chrome. This is horrible in Chrome. I don't know if it's just because I have 142 different tabs open. I mean, it couldn't be anything to do with that. But so anyway, I noticed somebody was doing a demonstration of this, and then they were using Firefox, and it was just going boom, boom, boom. So it's like, okay, I'm going to install Firefox and give it a shot. And sure enough, so I don't know. But Firefox, it works great. And this is a pretty crazy page here that he's got set up. So again, all these different logs from Loki, and then with all the metrics and that. So, but the correlation stuff, very, very cool, very powerful. What you can do with it ultimately. So let's see. So again, that was that screen where you define the queries, the data. So this will let you fill out this connect for all over the place. So now here's the one that we kind of discussed. To your private data. So of course everybody has private data, and unfortunately too, this is something that is only with, I think it says it on here. Yes, this is cloud only. So if you're running on-prem Grafana, you're not going to have this capability, unfortunately. But you know, but this is where you'll be able to install an agent, which will initiate the communication back home to the Grafana cloud instance, and then make sure that you're passing data through and use your remote. So that Postgres database and that previous part where I was actually running queries, that could be on an edge server or something, or in another VPC or on your remote, your internal VPN or the network. But yeah, so that it's quite cool. So this way, then at least you do have that secure access.
So can it still integrate if it's if the database is on a PaaS service in a public cloud, like I don't know, like Azure's database stuff?
Yes, you can go to a different cloud provider. Yep. And then one of the things too was that I remembered seeing something about and it may be there was something about the egress. Oh shoot. Yeah, I'm sorry. There was something about without the egress charges, because we're compatible with something from in the case of AWS anyway. So you would avoid the egress from this. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. Yeah, there was something with the AWS. I'm actually not going to tell you wrong.
Metrics, then?
Sorry?
Like Grafana Cloud, is it pulling the metrics? Is the agent pushing the metrics?
So no, what's going to happen is that Grafana Cloud will call into that agent. So the agent, when it starts up, it's going to communicate and establish that channel, that encrypted channel. And then whenever Grafana wants to query that database, it'll call the agent, and then the agent will proxy and do the actual call on your local database.
So we'll need like a firewall rule if it's a private setup to have an ingress rule for.
Yeah, you probably have to do some sort of a firewall because that agent's going to have to be able to call out and be able to make calls that way. But you're not exposing really anything. You're not saying, oh yeah, open this port range to allow the world to get in. I mean, it's initiated from within your network. So that way, then it should be a bit better. Let's see. But yeah, and so again, this is the private data connections, and it's only available for Grafana Cloud Pro and advanced users, and those on trials. Yeah, so this is something that folks have been requesting quite heavily, apparently. So again, that way then, this makes it easier for you to offload your metrics and not have to mess with it. You can have it in Google Cloud, or I'm sorry, you can have it in Grafana Cloud from whatever cloud provider you have for the rest of your stuff, and then you don't have to worry about maintaining and updating and all that. Just a matter of having the agent available. Let's see. So yeah. So again, mentioned before, I guess, that the improved RBAC controls. So now we have, the role-based, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, integrates smoothly with Terraform and On-Call. So On-Call is another one of our products. That's the incident management. Sorry? Yes. Yep. Yeah, so that's another one that's in our stack. But yeah, so you can integrate with that. Let's see, easy SAML configuration, auto login, and again, SAML cloud only makes sense. Customizable role mapping. Let's see, they boosted mapping capabilities from different authentication providers and for GitHub OAuth 2 authentication also. Option to map a user to Grafana, all Grafana organizations. Flexibility to skip, role sync, and even assign server admin permissions from OAuth. Okay. Sounds good to me. Hell, no. But yeah, and then there's been enhanced LDAP and OAuth. So you have the ability to skip organization role sync and then lock your organization roles synced from your authentication providers. But yeah, and then API keys rather, and JOT support. So we're transitioning away from API keys, okay, to service accounts. That's one of the big things, and then improving the RBAC integration, and then support now for JSON web tokens with capabilities for JOT URL embedding and experimental support for using JOTs as an authentication method. Yeah. Sorry.
So go from API keys to service account seems backwards.
Well, yeah, no,
Everything's an API. It has to have an API now. And service accounts, we've been doing that forever.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I guess, I don't know. The API key is definitely a lot simpler, isn't it? I mean, you just generate it and pass it along in the URL, and hey. But yeah, I have noticed though that on even the free tier, they have been kind of dissuading folks from using the API keys in favor.
Their APIs probably exposing themselves.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, people are hurting themselves with that or something. I don't know, but yeah, I don't think it's completely gone or anything. I mean, you can still generate the API keys, but it does give a little warning on there to say that think about transitioning to a service account. But yeah, I don't know what the exact details are on why really that.
I'm sure there's a good reason. It's new one for me.
I don't know, for REST services, everybody wants the API key. It's so simple. Yeah, so again, yeah, public dashboards, just a nice way to share with external parties your data without giving them the keys to the kingdom, getting into all your metrics. So this way, then you can limit it. They can even, have access to a single dashboard. So if you want some sort of monitor or whatever in the cool lab or something, and then only have access to a single dashboard, you can do that.
I'm glad this is here because I had to make this ourselves. Because for the previous role, we were a SaaS company. Each customer had an Azure subscription, right? We had SLAs that we had to abide by, right? And they wanted to know those.
They wanted to know what.
So we had to create our own API tool and all this exposed metrics so that they could see how the application is running, how the infrastructure is performing, everything.
Yeah. The new feature, I don't know if it's newer, but workbooks can be used too.
Yeah, this was pre-workbooks. Yeah. So we had to create our own APM for our own tool because it wasn't working to give us the real reliability. So this is neat. I like this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
you can share with the customers to prove that you're doing what
exactly. And actually, that's for SLAs. That's a perfect example of what you would share. And that way, then everybody's got access to the same thing. You're being transparent with your metrics for service uptime. But yeah, no, that's definitely a good example. But yeah, so now and again, you can give them a limited life. So let's see. Let's okay. Oh. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then the subfolders. And then my speaker notes on here. It's kind of funny. Enough said. It's organize folders within folders. Enough said. So just keep things a little bit cleaner. Let's see. And then effortlessly craft your perfect dashboard. All right. So this is something that's new and pretty big. So And I don't know if anyone knows that originally Grafana was written in Angular. Then around version 7, I want to say, or maybe 6, they switched to React. They went away from Angular. Well, now what we have is this scenes. And basically, think of it as kind of a component library. So again, this is going back to how we were talking a little bit on the VS Code thing, where you can actually design and program your own dashboards and that. And this gives you kind of a toolbox of components that you can mess around with, different layouts and that, so you can do your flex grids and all that stuff. And if you're an old Java guy like me, there's the grid bag layout and things like that. You can do some crazy stuff like that with the layouts. Let's see, we've got managing the complex dashboards, and then it's also improved performance with the re-rendering and runtime state, which includes query results that can be serialized and cached in the front end. So basically a quicker experience or a better UX. So, but so this is a big thing that'll be now available, so folks can start creating things with that. Let's see. And drive efficiency with tailored solutions. What are we talking about here? The plugins, yeah. Oh, yes. So, and to assist you with that, we now have this, and I think actually we've had the Create plugin tool, which will let you create your project structure essentially, so you can start programmatically creating an actual plugin. So this is going to be something that would be in the left gutter, if you recall. You had you can install those the plugins for like a different data source or whatnot. In fact, K6 originally, let's see, I don't know if we have that. K6 kind of started in Grafana as a plugin. Now it's a full-fledged app, but oh yeah, here. So this is actually, it's kind of weird. Some of these actually, it's a little bit different now, truly, in that now we have, there's a separate menu item that's there by default that is application performance, I think is what it's going to say, which is K6. And with the free tier, you actually get like a 50 virtual user hours per month for free that you can do load testing and things like that. Now, the one thing though is I think it rounds up to the nearest hour, which kind of sucks. So 50 will actually go pretty quick, I think. Anyway, but this is one of these plugins, so you could actually use the tooling to create your own tools in there. Kind of blanking on anything that I can really think of offhand that would be a good example of what you could do, other than K6. K6 started off this way, and these actually, this is old, but this would actually call out to the K6 cloud product, because again, two different companies, not everything has been fully merged yet. But right now, though, actually, when we have Grafana Cloud K6, so it's actually pulling into Grafana, that cloud. But anyway, sorry, I digress. Let me see if I can smoothly switch over back to this. All right. But yeah.
Other questions? Since I'm
Yeah.
the annoying guy in the room.
Not at all. Not at all.
Plugins, though, do different subscriptions. Are all plugins free? Enterprise, you get some that nobody else gets. How does that work?
Yeah, and actually, it was Raj Dutt, the CEO, this morning at the conference, and I did not see a slide in there. Did say that all enterprise plugins are now available for free on the free tier. Yeah.
I was looking at the plugins. I'm like, yep.
Yeah, there's a ton of them that are awesome. Yeah, and then that was like, that was, kind of one of those, yeah, pay us, but yeah, you can use any of those now. I would imagine that they limit the scope. It's not limited maybe by hours or something. I'm not really sure. I guess it depends on the plugin, honestly. So, but and that. So yeah. So again, like as I mentioned, most of these GrafanaCON locals are being held at AWS offices. We kind of have a partnership going on with AWS, but yeah, now you can get Grafana Cloud through the AWS marketplace, and then this was one of the interesting things. So like if your company has a prescribed commit budget that you have to use with AWS, this can count against that. So you can, if you haven't been spending it all, it's one of those things. It's like, oh, we got to spend it, otherwise AWS gets mad and charges more. Your metrics can hopefully maybe make up for that difference. So, but yeah. So yeah, feel free to scan. I don't see any phones out though. Are we not all AWS people? No. But but yeah, so it is available through that. So that is kind of a big thing for those folks. Let's see. All right. Yeah, if you're interested, again, this is Grafana and Friends is a it's a meetup. It's not a sales pitch. It's not intended to be a sales pitch, because again, Grafana is all about the big tent. If you have an interest in continuing or, maybe doing a presentation showing how you're using, Grafana or any of the products, maybe you want to work on that next Grot Award for next year to go to Stockholm, feel free to scan that, and then you can get in there and then fill out a form to, express your interest, or you can even do it directly to me. That's cool too, but it just won't go through that. I think that way then they won't know it was sourced from here. Marketing. You want to know the trail for everything. But yeah, and of course we are hiring. It's pretty much always the case. We for a tech company, we have been extremely fortunate in that the observability space, that's where people are trying to maybe cut out some of theirs and going to our cloud. And so we're doing well. We are doing very well. So we continue to hire. So feel free to check us out. So I don't know, any post questions?
Like Grafana has the ability to predict the future of the trends on the graph.
So we do have some AI stuff. I don't know about that whole thing, but they do have some where they can predict like they'll do things like yeah, great. I don't know.
You've got the data.
Yeah.
I think it does like anomaly detection and like forecasting.
Yeah, because I know the folks in like the with the on-call in that, they have been doing some experimentation with some AI, because how severe is this problem, based on history? Does it need to generate that alert, or is it something that's just going to kind of go away, on its own? That type of a thing. So there's AI in that regard. I don't know about the actual graphs themselves though. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. It may just be the standard old trend line.
That's where you need, and you can do all this prediction with the data. I know you guys got it.
I mean, there's definitely AI stuff going on, but yeah. A lot of it may be one of those things where it's like they're kind of doing hackathon stuff with it, and it may ultimately become a product. But yeah, that I've heard of. Yeah, I don't know.
The idea of giving, of taking all that data and funneling it and having like pre-outage indicators and things like that. Like, hey, if you're running that mode that usually ends up with the yellow, you better do something about that.
Yep. Yeah. Because that stuff I know that the on-call pieces are definitely using some AI stuff. But yeah, I don't know about the rest of it though.
Yeah, got you. Sell it to you.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Have you ever had anybody come out and QR code the sales guy?
not that I know of. I mean, this is the first time having that. Yeah. Contact sales. They'll be right over.
Well, to be fair, at our company, I was the one that actually reached out to the sales guy too, because we had a success story in another business unit. So I did reach out to the same sales guy that they did. So kind of did.
Yeah, I used to, when I was in I did this too, but I was part of sales, which you were not.
Yeah.
Yes, we would.
You're
We had
not.
contacts from events like this.
Yeah. There was at one time I considered it with it was with Pivotal, I think, was the where you're basically the sales guy's wingman.
That's
Yeah.
okay. My son is a technical solution professional, pre-sales architect, right?
There you go. Yep.
You go to the sales guy, keep him in check.
Exactly.
Help, but
It's like, yeah,
slow down.
you're like kicking them under the table. We don't do that. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stop the stream then. So then, yeah. Oh, somebody from the internet's but those of us those of us know the truth. All right, we shall say goodbye to the remote folks. Thanks for watching. All right, let me end broadcast.